Last time we talked about the difference between Cain and the prodigal son. Well, I guess it wasn't that last week, it was a while ago. But the last video, we talked about Cain and the prodigal son. And we talked about how a generational curse can begin in a family. Today, we're going to be talking about not only where it can begin, but with who it can start with as well, and how we can stop it before it progresses or before it continues on. So welcome, my name is Abigail Estrada. These are our extension classes for our student ministry. We are here to help our teenagers start their relationship with God and to strengthen their relationship with God as well. Let's get started with the topic that we have at hand today. So the generational curse doesn't necessarily need to start with a past. It doesn't necessarily need to start with someone from the past. Does it have to start with our grandparent, great-grandparent, or parents? Generational curses can actually also start with you and me. We can start in this generation. It can start in the next generation. A generational curse doesn't need to start in the past. It can start now in the present as well. And it can even start in the future. So a lot of you guys are teenagers, so you guys are not even thinking about your kids or great-grandkids starting a generational curse. But the thing is, anybody can truly start a generational curse. So like the prodigal son and Cain, we have a decision to make. And the choices that we make today not only impacts our lives today, but it also impacts the lives of those that come after us as well. So when we fall into temptation, like either Cain or even the prodigal son did, we have a choice to make of what do we do afterwards. We always fall into temptation, sadly, and we do things that we shouldn't be doing. A lot of the times we think of as something that is small and insignificant, and sometimes we've done things that are big, like what Cain and the prodigal son did. But in the eyes of God, they're all equal valued and measured, and all of the things that we do have the potential to become generational curses to the people that follow after us. And that's something that we always seem to forget. We make a choice and we make a decision and we say, I'm not hurting anybody. It's my choice, my life, without realizing how your choices can affect the person that comes after you, your child, your grandchild, your great-grandchild. And you might be thinking and looking at me going, really? I am young. I am 17, 15, 18, whatever years old. I'm not even thinking of kids. I'm not thinking of grandkids. And you're making me think of them when I'm just trying to live my life. But I want you to understand that your choices today will not just impact you. You might be saying right now, the choice I make, the choices that I'm going to make, they're for me and me alone, and I'm not going to hurt anybody. Well, you are hurting somebody. They may not exist right now at this moment, but you are hurting someone that is coming. Like Cain and Abel, you have a decision to make. You can either be like Cain and be stubborn and continue living the life that you want to live. Just be careful if you continue doing this. Because like I said, you are starting something and somebody's going to have to finish it. And if it's not you, it's going to be a later generation. And if it's a later generation, it's going to be harder for them to stop it. Don't be stubborn. Don't allow pride and ego keep you separated from God forever. Don't make that choice. Be instead like the prodigal son. The prodigal son, yes, fell. The prodigal son, yes, made horrible choices. But in the end, when he hit rock bottom, he didn't stay there. He made the choice to humble himself to his father and to ask for forgiveness. Not only did he ask for forgiveness, he didn't ask for his old position back. He was willing to become a servant of his own father. He willingly humbled himself. And when we do that, that is when we can truly break a generational curse. What we need in reality to break a generational curse was already given to us when Jesus was beaten and bruised. Jesus was beaten and bruised for our iniquities. Isaiah says it best. For he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. All the sins that we commit, present tense as well, all of it has been paid for. Everything. The punishment was placed on him instead, so that we can have peace. So that we can find peace in our lives, so that we can stop a generational curse on its tracks, so that it doesn't continue on to the next. We don't want our sons, our daughters, and the next generations that follow after us to fall in that same trap that we have fallen into. So if you happen to see a generational curse that is in your home currently right now, you may be asking, okay, how can I stop a generational curse that has been going on in my family for generations? Or maybe you're seeing something that could potentially become a generational curse that you yourself are practicing at this moment. In reality, the answer for both of these situations is the same. The Garden of Gethsemane is the answer in our foundation. In order to receive the blood that Jesus shed when he was beaten and bruised, we need to, just like the prodigal son, humble ourselves. We need to submit ourselves. We need to allow God to move in our lives. God wants to have a relationship with us. But here is the question you might be asking. How do I submit? How do I humble myself? How can I truly break this generational curse? You're telling me to humble myself. You're telling me to submit. But the question is how? And the answer is to become worshipers. And not just the worshipers in name alone, but to become true worshipers that worship him in spirit and truth, that we may live flowing in the Spirit. Next week, we are going to dive deeper in what it means to worship, because in the classes that follows after this, we need to understand what it means to worship, because in order to learn submission, in order to learn how to humble ourselves, in order to learn obedience, we must learn how to worship. And that is to come next week. This is where I say God bless you, and I'll see you guys next time.